All right,
definitely had this
we got
conversation
Kirk.
before.
We got Kirk in the wings. He's CEO of Foresight CFO and author out of DC, ForesightCFO.com. Welcome to the playbook, my friend.
Yeah, David, I've been listening to you for so long. I'm really glad to be here. So I'm just jumping in, see where you want to take it.
We have to bring in somebody credible on Wednesdays because you can imagine what it's like. It's one thing to hang out with Blaine Bartlett, on Thursdays, and our Friday crew is pretty credible. We got a bunch of lawyers, and with these two guys, we're bringing some credible people. And your book, I think, really hits home with credibility. The Growth CFO Void, it's nice to have a pragmatic tool, a guide that shows us and illustrates that we limit ourselves by our self-image. And a lot of your book deals with self-image of mindset, heart set, and handset that truly is the obstacle or void from achieving what we want or better. Does this book, this guide, is it from your own personal experience of holding yourself back?
It is. And among the things that I learned from it is I had guides at different stages of my life, even now. And I learned probably in my late 40s, I learned the hard way when things really got painful that I can't do it alone, right? And needed to tap into other people's expertise. And really painful, like businesses stalled, not getting along with my wife. My sons are doing well. They're both military officers. They're out doing things. So thank God that they're okay. But yeah, so that's exactly what it is.
I love it.
Incredible background. I mean, you served in the Army as a behavioral scientist. You got an MBA in different places. But I have a question. So when you said you can't do it alone, it's really difficult nowadays for people to find good people, because there's a lot of people out there that claim to be experts. You are obviously an expert, right? And Dave and Michael are experts, and I work as an addiction specialist. But what's the first thing you would tell someone if they're looking for a mentor or looking for an expert in a field when they're reaching out? Because it's hard nowadays because there's so much misinformation.
Yeah, Mike, I think the main thing is we'll talk about some things you can do, but the first thing is it's okay to make a mistake. Like maybe I talked to a couple different coaches and I think, wow, this guy Henry, man, he's the guy for me. Let me jump in with him. And then a couple months into it, turns out not to be the right fit. It's okay. I probably learned a few things along the way. There's probably a peer group somewhere in there. I got some real benefits. It's just not 100%. So what's wrong with going back out to the well and seeing, now I'm sure at that point that a person would know more, at that future point in their life, and that they can make the next best decision based on, what they can reasonably know. So I'd go with that approach versus trying to be, trying to get the perfect answer, trying to get I see when people try to get the perfect answer, the right answer, you will never have that. You can get close, you can mitigate your risk. I'm a numbers guy. I like to see it, but at some point, go to the ledge.
Yeah.
And jump.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of that, Kirk. I think it's the only thing that's brought me to this point in my life. I'm curious, you always hear success leaves clues. And so I'm wondering, as someone who's studied human behavior, something that I'm fascinated by, what are the cornerstones to both success and failure for people in these entrepreneur business roles, CFO roles?
Okay, I'm going to go with success, where it's the more we know that future vivid vision of ourselves, that destination, what is it? Who am I with? What are we doing? How are we impacting people? The more we know that future vision, what we're going to, that helps a lot of decisions start to become more black and white, because you got this guiding light to evaluate things with. So I think when people have a real sense of destiny, a real sense of purpose, that's going to pull them through all the resistance, right? We know how it goes: obscurity, resistance, and then acceptance, kind of thing. So having that is something. And maybe the opposite is when people really stay in a dark place of despair, where if they're working in isolation, a lot of I started, roughly 30 years building businesses, built and sold one in high school, went to college, didn't like college. And that's why I joined the Army, because wasn't hands-on enough. And the Army was plenty hands-on enough, right? And over like 30 years of working with lots of different business owners, I started to notice the difference between those who had a coach, had a peer group, had an advisory board. I mean, they were something to talk to. I mean, every time I talked to one of those guys or gals, I'd get, wow, like just, I'd never thought of the world that way. And the reverse is true a lot. I think like over the years, up until recently, most business owners work in isolation. It's all self-made man, that kind of thing, and they don't have peer groups. They might have networking groups, but they don't have peer groups where there's a real vulnerability to really open up about what's going on. And I started over. I remember Richard Rossi. I asked him. He was spending a good amount of money on coaching, strategic coach, and I asked him, I was a finance guy. Hey, what's this? What's this big expense? And it wasn't that big, but it was significant. And he described to me what it was. And my response back then was, are we trying to build a business or live a country club lifestyle? I didn't get it. Then years later, decades later, I started and I started noticing the difference. Business owners who have that versus those working in isolation, and fewer options, making the wrong. You want to make the right. You want to know your options, then make the right decision at the right time and be able to follow through. The business owners that are more connected, they were doing that. So that's kind of the night and day. But I learned late in life. I'm 53 now. I learned my mid 40s. I started really, collaboration. Okay, I understand collaboration. I collaborate with people. I don't work in isolation. Then you find out, or I find out a few clicks later, oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I did.
Number one, thank you for your service. And, with Alaska, like McLaren, and we're here in Las Vegas filming our show in the next few days in the F1 here. And obviously teamwork is a big and essential part of F1 and in racing in general. It's most people may or may not know, it's one of the greatest team sports out there. And to be a true team member is something that is aligned with your core values. And a lot of people don't take into consideration the individual responsibility of being a true team member. One of the areas that you help people with is to take that type of accountability, as you have by serving our country in the Gulf War. Where are some of the comparisons of not just understanding teamwork and collaboration, but there is an individuality of accountability within a true team member?
Yeah, it's funny because I have the military, building businesses for 30 years, 3 years in the military, and then I teach at Georgetown, the same topic. And it's the military really influenced how I think about growth CFO work. So reinvented CFOs, from CFOs to growth CFOs. But most of us business owners do not want to talk to the finance person. They talk a language I kind of know it's English, but I don't know what they're saying, and they tell me no instead of helping me figure out how, the kind of thing, and do it in a way that's productive, right? And so with the military influence, the way we come to it, it's not an individual CFO. First of all, we train CFOs to go from CFOs to growth CFOs, different mindset, different skill. And then they don't work in isolation like a traditional CFO. They work on a 3-person team, right? And it's very clear what are the objectives, both multiple years and now, and then in 90-day sprints, what's the one priority that we do to get a certain outcome, and it's measurable. And with us, including the financial outcomes, more profit, household income, more valuable business. So you start to see the military influence. Wow, it's kind of this very this team, each person being a specialist, but they integrate into one effective outcome. It's just it's different than what I did when I was a full-time CFO, and so it's pretty unique. And then the behavioral stuff. I mean, to me, it's okay. We're a growth CFO company, but really it's about people. To the CEO, business owner, what's that outcome you want? Then why? What's your motivation to get there? And is it something significant? Because if it's not, if the CEO, business owner doesn't have a significant motivation, the minute we solve the pain point, like cash crunch for payroll, the minute we solve that, there's going to be a lot less follow through, a lot less motivation to do the next thing that's necessary to get to that outcome. But if you have a real strong why, like some of the things you guys are talking about doing something, that second mountain, doing something meaningful in life, having a purpose, oh yeah, we're going to follow through. And if something goes sideways, we'll see it. We put the instruments in place so we can see it early and proactively take the next step. And that's not only is it purpose, I mean, that's fun.
Yeah, well, as a CEO who got caught up in interfering with the numbers, the tedious numbers, the confusing numbers, the intimidating numbers, and what seemed to be the disconnection between me and our growth CFO, if you're having this rationalization, you got to buy the book, The Growth CFO Void, the guide to what's holding you back from becoming a top 2% CEO, how side by side with your CFO and others. Kirk McLaren, check him out, CEO of Foresight CFO. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, nice to meet you all. And David, good to talk to you. So
good to talk to you.
Well.
Thank you for all your. Do well. Thank you.